Alright, our last day or two, I've been messing with the Integra again. This is why you definitely should be careful when you buy a used motor from somebody you don't know. Let me turn my light on. The motor's at top dead center, least off the crank anyway. From up here, it looks like they're literally about 8 teeth off from like supposed to be up here. It's over there. So timing chain's either really wore out or the timing tensor's no good. Either way, it's not good. So we did order another timing chain, timing tensor and stuff. So hopefully the next couple of days I'll kind of take you along, get everything else done. But while you weren't here, I did go ahead and actually do a compression test on it. It did have 167, 171, 171, and 159. I did that ahead of time. That way, if I checked it and it's different now, I know it's good or bad. So, it was a lot of time consuming stuff to get the oil pan off, the timing case off, and the crank pull in. Pretty much the whole top of the motor. But I'm going to go ahead and get the timing chain actually off, so when the stuff gets there, I'm already halfway there. I was going to go ahead and adjust the valves, but I think I'll do that once the timing chain's actually here and everything's installed correctly. Because that right now, nothing's exactly right, so it's kind of pointless. Alright, not sure how much I can film of this, because it's a real tight spot, and I'm doing this on the floor, not a lift. But I'm essentially going to unhook the actual tensioner, just the two 10mm bolts, and it'll allow all this to kind of come loose. Since it's so loose, it's not going to matter. So I'm going to go ahead and get under here, pull the bolts out of the, and probably pull the bolts out of this side too, just so I can get the chain off a little easier. Then once Speed Factory ships out the timing chain, guess we'll get a little farther. Alright, I figured for my hands got too oily and I didn't want to touch it. Tensioner looked okay. It came out like shot out like a cannon, but it did come out. I did got the one guide off the one side. Now, I forgot the last thing to do is get these two 12mm off the top. And to get that guide off, it was just a 10mm at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom, which is pretty simple. Once I got to put it together, I'll kind of explain the procedure a little more clearly. But basically, just pull these top two bolts out, and the chain will come off. Pretty simple. It's real slack, so it should almost fall off. Alright, with that piece off, like I said, timing chain will just fall right off. It's hard to tell if they're really bad. It was definitely real slacked out, so either somebody improperly installed it, or it was just old and had 200,000 miles on it or something. I'm not real sure. Guess we'll only find out when we gotta put it back together. While I'm waiting on stuff, the crank pulley is lined up with the arrow down there. Show that. I ain't too far. There it is. The arrow. At the top. Up here's the arrow. I can't really see, but dot there, or arrow here, arrow here. As long as that lines up, you know you're in time. At the top, as you can see, the arrows are definitely not pointing right. So I'm going to take a 17 on one. And literally, that was weird, my camera shut off. But, obviously, used the 17 and actually pulled it where it needed to go. On this side, you'll need a 14. Physically, I have to take them and line them up, but that gets them a lot closer to where they were. They were nowhere near anything, so. Alright, here's the reason too you should always check stuff. This is after I took a whole can of brake clean, a couple of shop rags. There was so much sludge in here. It looked like they haven't changed the oil in 20,000 miles, so definitely always check your oil when you put your motor stuff. Guess I'll get another can of brake clean from that, but a little further. Alright, 1,000% more clean. That's 2 cans of brake clean, probably 4 or 5 paper towels, and a shop rag or so. But it got all the gunk out. Man, that's just years of shit being in there, people not changing their oil regular as they should. But worst case, this is 10 times better. I'm gonna just Honda bond the oil pan back on and call it a day. Alright, guess I'll pause there today. The oil pan's extra clean. Need more or less just get some oil and oil filter. Wait for the timing chain stuff to come in. So I guess at the moment I'm gonna hit pause, and next time y'all see the video in like 5 or 10 seconds, it'd be when the timing chain comes in. Alright, while I'm bored waiting for all the stuff to come in the mail, which will probably be next week. To actually line up the cams, which I found was easy, you can go out and buy the tool. You definitely don't need it. I know you got this at home you can use. On this side, sorry, that's my light on this one side. Just need a 17mm wrench on one, 14 on that one. To start, I physically just turn the actual cam. There's a pin on this side, or a pin place for a pin. It does say intake right here, and this side's for the exhaust. It is a little arrow right here, as you can see on that. But I'll turn that off so you can see better. But yeah, arrow there. There's a pin right here. There's a hole. You physically take the actual wrench on this side, turn it one way, you'll see the little hole line up with the other hole. And you slide this actual drill bit in, lock into place. That way you don't have to get somebody to hold the cam for you. Same thing on this side. It's on the bottom on this side, just so you can actually see. It's on the bottom right hand corner on this one. The same idea. You take that 14mm wrench, turn it, I believe, toward the front of the car to actually get this line up. It actually has to go up. On that one, I physically think I went the opposite way. I'm pretty sure. But either way, I just went with a drill bit and a drill bit. I physically went with the exact size of the hole. That way I don't have any play. I don't want nothing moving. So on this side, let me move these wrenches off. Now the cam actually lines up exactly up. On both sides, and the line in the middle goes straight across. Sorry, my camera's a little blurry. It's kind of dirty for my hands, but that's what you need when you get to line it all up. Crank needs to be pointing exactly up to the arrow. Them two guys need to be pointing up also, and the middle needs to line up. So, as long as you have a couple of drill bits home, this will definitely be an easy option. As you can tell, it's just 2 basic drill bits I had in the pack. So, hope this makes it easy. You don't have to go buy the kit because you know you got drill bits in the toolbox. If you're working on your hot motor, you definitely have some drill bits. Alright, that was pretty fast. Check the mail. Drag Cartel sent their high performance timing chain. It was like $190 for shipping, so it was very expensive. But the stock one was $130, so it was kind of stupid to buy a regular one. It did send some nice Drag Cartel stickers and a little beer cooler. I don't drink no more, but it definitely hold a nice soda. So I guess once the time tensioner gets here, we'll start doing the rest of the stuff. Alright, to y'all that seemed like a couple seconds. To me, that was a whole week of waiting. K20 timing tensioner finally got here. Obviously got the Drag Cartel timing chain. But this little guy, $160, which is crazy. So for $350, that's a new K20 timing tensioner and a Drag Cartel timing chain. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting stuff put together in a second. I'm gonna start by actually taking a little Tupperware, putting a little bit of oil, and actually soaking the chain for a little bit to kind of get it more soaked in oil. I mean, it don't need this, but it definitely don't help hurt. So, alright, like I said, I'm literally just taking a Tupperware, filling it up with a little bit of oil, actually fresh oil from Napa, so don't use old oil. I'm literally going to take just the timing chain, add the bag, and basically just soak it in it for maybe an hour or two just to kind of get it more lubricated. Don't want to put a dry chain on. I'm going to definitely dry this motor hard. So, alright, I got a nice one submerged. You don't need a terrible amount of oil, but definitely an easy tip. I mean, you don't have to do this, but definitely it does not hurt to do this. Alright, I'm going to put the top on in case anything, no dirt and debris in there. So that's why I use a Tupperware if y'all wonder. It's clean, ready to go. I guess I'll come back about an hour after it's had time to sit, and I'll start putting the rest of this stuff together. So, give me a few minutes or a couple seconds to y'all time. Alright, I'll let it sit for a couple hours. Before I get my hands all dirty, I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the oil and go ahead and install it. I guess give me a little bit, but I'm probably not going to touch my phone after I have my hands all oily. Alright, probably can't touch this much more. There is an actual colored link. It will line up. How much I can talk about the light on. Colored link is right here. It needs to line up with this arrow, and there's a little dot on top of your cam, you can tell. But colored link there, colored link here, it needs to line up with the same thing. It's a dot there. So dot needs to line up. At the bottom, same thing. There's another colored link that lines up with another line. So line them up, you should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and start getting other stuff on. Put the guides back on, the tensioner on. Rotate the motor over a few times, make sure it stays in time and it's not out of whack or something weird. Alright, this is hours later. That was not fun. I do have it on there. I'm going to spin it over a few times, make sure it's right. Sometimes it's not, just get the double check it. Just give me a few seconds and I'll be right back. Alright, I rolled it around several different times. It's still in time. I went ahead and checked. Everything still lines up. The marks across the cam still mark up. They mark up. And you definitely can't tell from here, but at the top of the crank pull, if you can tell, it still marks up with the mark. So that's always a good sign. Now, I guess probably gonna do it tomorrow now. It's getting late. I'm gonna take the rest of the timing case back on, get the oil pan back on. Go ahead and double check everything. I'll probably go ahead and run the valves and everything too while I'm at it. Everything's a part, might as well do that too. So I guess next time y'all see it, I'll be a little bit farther along. Alright, I got the timing case moderately on there. I gotta put the timing tensioner cover on, but everything else is good. So I'll go back, double check, torque all the bolts. Alright, I got the valve cover on. Put the spark plugs in, got the coil packs in, hook the ground up to the actual valve cover. Got the coolant line on. I do gotta put the crank pulley back on. Put the motor mount on. I guess put the oil pan on and put some oil on it and hook all the wires up and kind of go from there. Alright, first I got too far. I did get the VTC sensor hooked up. I put the cam sensor in down there. Tore them down. I went ahead and started putting the wires back on. I forgot to do that before I got really oily from the oil pan, so pretty much getting all the sensors hooked up, the cam sensor, the actual top dead center sensor. So I guess let me get it in front of the car and get to the nasty part. Alright, got the oil pan back on. I just gotta do the crank pulley bolt and the crank pulley. Pretty much it. As you can hear, it is downpour. So like thunder just hit or something just hit my damn garage. Yeah, it's definitely a badass one out there. I guess it's from all the wildfire stuff everybody's having. It's gonna smell like smoke for like a few days in a row, so I don't know. I guess we'll do it every year. When the cart looks empty, it's usually a good sign, because the other day it was very full of everything on itself. Crank pulley, motor mount, Everything else should be good to go. Alright, there's that too far. This is the actual motor mount bracket. On your K-swap, there's not enough space without taking this actual motor mount bracket off. But, like I did, I took floor jack, little piece of plywood under the oil pan so you don't bust nothing, or don't do it without the plywood, please. But you jack it up just enough, you get enough clearance to get these long bolts through. If not, you're gonna fight it. So I figured this would be an easy idea to tell y'all. Alright, let me go ahead and finish putting the bolts in, and I'll be right back. Alright, once you get that bracket bolted on the block, you need to go ahead and put your 2 bolts in the top, bolt one mount on. Go ahead and let the jack down and let it fall in the hole and get the big bolt through. Alright, that's pretty close. But if you can't get the line up exactly, get a screwdriver or a big punch or a little bit smaller of a bolt and kind of pry it over, make it all fit good. Usually I take the motor mount bolts off. I need to take that back out and loosen them and get it in a little better. Alright, definitely had to loosen the top 2 bolts. I'm going to take an actual dead blow and tap it in there. Alright, once the bolt's in there, go ahead and tighten the top 2 bolts. Torque motor mount bolt, double check, make sure you didn't forget something like I always do. Usually you rush, you're doing stuff different days, it's easy to forget something. Alright, everything's done. I went ahead and uploaded the tune back into it. I had the same computer for my turbo car, so put the alt motor tune back in. So guess, cross your fingers, hopefully it's going to start up. I've never had this motor actually start, so hopefully, we'll see. Alright, well, that didn't surprise me. It did start. It says the top dead center sensor was unhooked. I double checked it. I'm gonna make sure the pins on the computer didn't come out because the plug's cheap. Don't buy this shit off eBay. Cheap ass eBay harnesses suck. I literally unplugged it and like half the pins ripped out of the plug, so definitely avoid it. The stock ones are way better. Alright, definitely didn't work. Sounds a lot better, but it still wouldn't fire up. I went ahead and pulled the coils out and pulled the plugs. They're definitely full of gas. So I'm gonna give them probably like an hour or two, let it kind of dry up and let the cylinders dry up. If not, you'll gotta put fresh plugs in, get it fired up, and like 5 minutes from now, it'd be doing the same shit. So let the air evaporate, let all the moisture get out of there and stuff. So I guess in an hour or two, I'll be back and we'll go from there. Alright, it's definitely been about 2 hours. I went ahead and cleaned the plugs, put them back in, put the coils in. As I'm sitting here, I must know what the hell the problem is. It says I have a problem with I think it said the crank sensor, the top dead sensor. Man, as I'm sitting here, the damn wires are falling out of like half the damn plug, so definitely don't go buy this cheap shit from fucking eBay. Like I said, if you got an option to buy a cheap used one, buy that. So I was looking at it, damn, half the pins ain't even in the damn holes for the speed sensor. So, I'm only gonna guess half the damn plugs are probably the same way. They're falling out of the damn holes, they're not getting good connection. So, hoping that's what it is. I'm gonna try to fire the car up again one more time. If not, tomorrow I'm gonna swap the harness out for the other one. It's another cheap one too, but hopefully I got better results. If not, it's gonna be a long process. Alright, I've been playing with it for a little bit longer. I'm probably just gonna swap this cheap ass harness out. I've had nothing but problems since I first bought it, and it's more expensive of the cheap stuff. It wasn't the bottom dollar ones like 60 or 70, 80 bucks. It was over 100, 200 bucks, I believe. I can't remember. It's been a while, but definitely gonna finish unhooking all this and hook the other one up and hope I got something better. It's basically just another. Another stock harness. Well, like somebody knocked off a K20 harness. I'd say it's just a cheap ass eBay one, but this is a different one. But tomorrow, I'll come out here when it's actually daylight, put this harness in, take this other cheap ass one off. So Very easy to get out. It's more complicated to put it back in because you got to kind of feed through all the little stuff so you don't make sure all the wires reach. But tomorrow I'll knock this back out and hopefully I crank it up and let y'all hear it. Alright, I got the top part all unhooked. To get it all out, especially I unhook the big plug, the small plug. This one, the damn piece burnt the fuck off. Quality. But this one, I had problems. This is the first time I used it. This pin fell the fuck out, so I put a piece of wire in it. This pink one, I don't know if you can see if I can put my hand there. That's probably not a good thing that your pin on your ECU just slides in and out. So I'm guessing bad connection there, bad connection there, bad connection here. I'm gonna guess there's probably more than I can't see because that's a lot of wires in a tight ass space. I'm gonna guess there's probably other pins that ain't perfect neither. I'm not sure. I'm gonna eliminate one problem and jump to see if something else helps. I figured if I went in for the night, I went ahead and got the harness all hooked up. Or unhooked, I mean. More easier to have it done than wait till tomorrow. So, guess we're back to square one again for like the third time. So, hopefully there's more good luck tomorrow. If not, it's going to be a lot of days. Alright, this is the next day. I pulled the plugs, pulled the coils, went ahead and cleaned the plugs, let it dry it overnight. Put the regulator off my Mustang. So this is the same cheap kind of one, but not the same one. I figured this one I know works. Also, I went ahead and put another starter wire on because the one I had was an 8 gauge, and I went ahead and put a 4 gauge. So hopefully that'll give me some more cranking amps, and it'll kind of hope to fix it. I don't know. Guess I'm like time will find out. Alright, this is like a couple weeks later after I shot the other videos. I went ahead and got my nephew's harness off his engine. This is actually a stock RSX harness. It's actually all factory. It's not some old shit off eBay like I had. I turned the computer on, it looks okay, so I'm hoping it'll fire up. So cross your fingers that it actually runs okay, because I'm tired of messing with this car. On data shows everything in the green, so cross your fingers everything works. Alright, finally it runs. Long story short, don't buy an eBay harness. But when they're like $100, $200, don't buy it. When they're a factory harness, go to the junkyard, go to eBay or somebody selling one locally or something. Don't buy the ones, the cheap like K20 knockoff ones. I would say it is, or something like that, or a Rywire knockoff. This one we did heat wrap shit out because it was near its turbo, but factory was definitely the way to go. I turned the key on, it started up first try. So definitely nice to know, and it's running. So I guess next time you see this car, I'll probably have something else in there. We're taking this motor out and putting up my nephew's car. So when you see it next time, it'll be turboed on the dyno or having fun. Either way, I'll take y'all along for the ride. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day.